All right, welcome to another episode of the Badass Clinician podcast with your host Natty and Chestin. Guys, so today we're gonna go straight, simple stuff, talking about nurturing sequences after you're running ads, right? Because I know most of the people that are listening to this, they want to run ads or they are running ads, but they're just not having, the greatest success, right? And to me, when you don't have the greatest success is because you just lack your ability to follow up, right? Because you can follow up immediately, you get people to take action faster, right? And Cheston say it all the time: people love speed and they pay for that. And if you want to be a high end service, you need to have a high end touch point. So we're running ads right now. We have a new campaign going out for Shockwave as an intro offer to get people to come in. So then from there, they can see the benefits of Shockwave and see the benefits of PT. So that's the whole point. It's a front end offer that will get people in, immediately pain relief, and also give them an opportunity to see what we are able to do with Shockwave, with movement, with hands-on, and all the stuff that we do with myokinetics. So let's get into it, bro. And I know you're running ads for a couple of the people that we're working with. So let's have you go first, man. Because I lean on you a lot when it comes to the nurturing sequence. Because I think sometimes for me it's like, all right, we can just do this and that, but from your end, you like to have high value touch point all the time. So like, what are your thought process when it comes to, building a nurturing sequence, especially if you're getting someone from Facebook who's like
Yeah. So,
an
so I
absolute
think I
cold
think we have
lead?
to start first of all at the beginning and just talk about kind of ad campaigns overall, and just kind of think about understand the mindset of where we're advertising. So we've talked several times about this before, but you have Google and you have Facebook, you have social media. Google is demand generation, or I'm sorry, demand fulfillment, meaning people are going there actively looking for a
Mm-hmm.
particular solution to a problem that they have. And so when you're running ads there, you can be more aggressive, you can be more proactive, you can be more direct with your offers. Whereas with social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even to a certain extent YouTube, it's demand generation, meaning they're not going there actively looking for a solution. They're going there to check out their friends, to see what's going
Mm-hmm.
on, catch up on news, whatever the case may be, socialize. And so when you're running ads there, you're stopping them from their social interaction, and you have to present a message that is interesting to them. And so there, on and talking specifically about Facebook ads, like you say, most of them are cold leads. So if your ad does a good enough job, the copy, the content, the video, the image, whatever it does, it stops them in their tracks. It gets them to check it out. It gets them to interact, submit their information. The job is just started. Whereas with Google, again, they're actively looking for this. So they're going to be more proactive in taking the next steps or doing whatever you need to do. Well, on social media, you have to take this into consideration that they weren't going there looking to find shockwave therapy or improve their running, which is a
Mm-hmm.
particular ad that we're running for a client. And so on Facebook/social media, speed to lead is critical, as well as continuing to nurture that relationship. You can't necessarily be, you want to be aggressive, you want to be proactive in promoting this offer and getting them to take the next steps, but you also have to keep in mind that you interrupted them. Yes, they may have opted in, but in a lot of cases people opt in and then 5 minutes later they forgot they did it, and so when they're getting your emails, you're calling them, they're like, well, who the hell are you and why are
Yep.
you calling me? And so you want to make sure that the follow-up sequences that you have, the nurturing sequences you have, continue to educate and position you as the authority, demonstrate value, show them how you can help. And you want to make sure that you are continually nurturing that lead to make sure that they understand who you are and how you can help. And so having nurture sequences
Mm-hmm.
associated with your ad campaigns is absolutely critical to maximize the value of those leads. Now, again, going back to the beginning, assuming you're doing a good enough job of targeting your ads, meaning you're in the right area, you're not running ads nationwide if you're a local clinic, that you're targeting people that are truly interested in what you have. So active adults, athletes, whatever the case may be, that you're using the Facebook algorithms, that you're setting those interest targets, those demographic targets, those location targets to make sure that you're finding the right people. Once you've done that, then making sure that the messaging that you have after the fact is going to improve the value of those leads overall. So many times, we talk to
Mhm.
clients or talk to, other clinic owners, and they're complaining about their ads because they're not working. And a lot of cases, it's usually because, number one, they haven't done a good enough job of targeting their ads. And number two, they're not doing a good enough job of
Mhm.
following up with those leads. So they think that, hey, somebody opted in. Oh, great,
Yeah.
fantastic. I've got a new patient. Well, no, that's not the case. Like, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in order to get them from that cold lead to actually be in your clinic and you're presenting the services that you're offering or the offer that they even opted in for.
Yeah. To me, like, if you're not targeting the right population, that's like trying to like my brother-in-law, they don't swim. So it's
Yeah.
like me trying to sell swim lesson to
Yes.
them because they don't see value in it, right? So um and people forget when they take action. Like for me personally, we order stuff so much on Amazon that I don't even know what I order. So when the things came in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what's the term? Primnesia. It's like when you
I've
just
never heard
order
that
so
before,
much,
but I
you're like,
like
what the
that.
hell did I
Yeah.
order? And you're like, oh, I forgot I ordered. Primnesia. Yeah. So if people are actively spending money on Amazon and they forget what they just ordered, they absolutely gonna forget every
Yes.
time they take action on social media. And
Yeah.
especially if you're just scrolling through so much, right? So I think I love your thought process every time we talk about campaign is that we always work backwards of like, okay, we're going to run this campaign. What are some nurturing sequence that needs to go with that? Because most people just think that, oh, you just need to run this ads and people are just coming in. Like, no, you
Yeah.
have to move them closer to the door. Like literally, what are you going to do? And the one we're like obviously like I mentioned the one we're running now with Shockwave is Shockwave with low back pain, right? And the whole point of doing that is to get people to take action to say like, hey, I tried all these other things and it didn't work. So as I'm prepping my team of all the leads that are coming in, I was like, hey, you're gonna get people who have long history of back pain. They tried a lot of things,
Yep.
chiropractor, they tried PT in the past, it didn't work. And they've been through injection, they're taking medication, they probably went through like nerve testing already. So they
Yep.
have a big
Yep.
distrust in the medical system that they're coming in. So our job is to hear them out, see where the distrusts are. Then from there, give them something they can do at home that will give them a
Yep.
quick win. Like that's why we have our YouTube content. Give them that, then get them to book a call. And then you talk to them, do your intake. And if you need to schedule a call, with a clinician, then you can do it, right? With the lead that we just had, and we just ran this last week. We got someone that came in yesterday. We, were able to, close her on a different package. But the whole sequence was she came in, we called her, took all information. We explained the benefits to her. She called back. She started telling more and more of her history, right? Because the first phone call, people are very skeptical. They're not going to tell you every single thing. The second phone call,
If
they're
they
going to open
trust
up
you,
more,
if you
right?
started to
On
show
the
them they can
second,
trust you, yeah.
if they trust you, exactly. Yeah. So if you can build trust on the first phone call, that's what's important. The second phone call, you go there to build more trust and
Yep.
to hear them out because they're going to tell you more information, right? And then by that time, the second phone call, I was able to hop on the call with the patient and just
Yep.
hear them out from a clinical perspective and say, hey, since you did all of this, this why is a
Yep.
good solution for you to try. Right? If you come in and try, it's low price point, it's half the price that we charge. You can come in, you get to sit with my team and I, we can see what else is going on. And then we're going to give this a try. And the whole point of that call, what was great is that I was like, hey, how bad is your pain?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, right now is an 8 out of 10. I said, listen, would it be worth your time coming in and invest in this if I can get that
Yeah.
pain down from an 8 to a 4?
Yep.
Would you take that? Right? Because
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
promise
Yeah.
her that it's going to be a 0 pain, especially if they've been through a lot. So she came like, yeah, 4 out of 10, I'll take it right now. I said, okay, come in tomorrow. She came in. We talked. We did the whole treatment, did the whole assessment. Within a half hours, her pain went down. And I said, okay, here's
Yep.
how I would like to move forward. Right. And I think that's the
Yeah.
ideal campaign. That's what you really want. You want people to be able to just like come in, find you credible, build trust with you, be open enough to share more information. And then from there, you just give them quick win with pain relief and
Yeah.
educate them on
And
how else they can get better.
an important mindset to keep in mind as you're approaching this, you can't approach Facebook ads, especially as a profit center, so to speak. Like the goal, honestly, with
Mm-hmm.
ads should be to break even on that front end service or that front end offer. So if you can break
Mm-hmm.
even, meaning you don't make any money on those patients that you generate from that offer that you run, that's a win. Even you might even lose a little money because on the back, the goal is to upsell them to a bigger package. Obviously, you want to get them into the door and experience your service, experience the clinic, experience the culture that you have, get them to experience some quick wins so they can see the value of what you do, because that's going to increase the likelihood that someone is going to convert on the back end to a much bigger package, which is ultimately what you want to achieve.
Yeah. So like Alex Hamosi always talk about self liquidating offer, right? So when he runs his like 6 week challenge, it's like, hey, you pay $500 a month for 6 weeks. You come in, we're gonna make you lose weight. You're gonna hit these goal, and then by the time you hit these goal, your next step would be, hey, sign up for a whole year membership.
Yep.
But he's breaking even on the front end, and he's making more money on the back end and creating more impact, because we get people to be more committed, right? So that's all we want, is we want to get people to have some sort of buy-in, because they have to pay for something. So they hold themselves accountable. Now we're both on the hook together. It's not just us. If it's a free offer, then they have no responsibility. So they're not on the hook for anything at all. And every time in the past when we've done that, we found that there's a lot of higher no-show rate, because there's nothing at stake for them. But we take the payment up front, we schedule a time, we treat it as legitimate as possible. People tend to respect that way more, and they tend to be more invested in the time that you spend with them.
You know, I think too, that speaks to the importance of having an entire system that can systematically move those leads along your process. So having the scripts, having the follow-up sequences, having your team on board with what their responsibilities are and what they need to do at each step in the process, like having that stuff mapped out and having it clearly laid out as to who's doing what, when, what are the assets that you're using, is going to improve the value of any marketing that you do, but especially with paid ads on social media. And I think that's where a lot of people miss, where they complained about the quality, hey, I did ads, but it didn't work. Well, it's not that the ads didn't work. They were probably bringing in leads, but maybe you just didn't have the system on the back end to really fully maximize the value of that lead. And so understanding that mindset, that process that is required, I think is critical to maximizing the value of those leads. Because, we've seen clinics that, when you invest in market, you have to grow, you have to get leads. You can only do so much word of mouth referral and patient referrals, all those, offline marketing, events, whatever the case may be. Like paid advertising is an excellent opportunity to put yourself in front of your ideal patients, but you also want to make sure that you have the system on the back end, the processes, the tools, the resources to be able to maximize the value of those. And if you can do that, like if you can get that system down, man, it all comes down to how much can you pump into those ads? How much can you pump into that, into getting yourself out in the marketplace? Because if you have a system on the back end where I get X number of leads up front, and it's going to consistently convert to Y on the back, then as a business owner, man, you're going to be that much more confident in your ability to invest in marketing, because you know that for every dollar you put in, you're going to get $10 out the back end, or whatever the case may be. But if you're only looking at that front end and you're trying to compare, the ROI of that front end offer, you're going to lose every time, because you have to play that long game. You have to have that bigger picture and understand that you can't just look at the value or the results of that initial offer that you're running, but you have to look downstream to how many full treatment plans are you selling to these patients, because that's really where the value comes in.
Yeah. So my whole process of running ads is we don't run ads to generate revenue. We run ads to generate relationships. And if you can generate relationships, that relationship will take you and help you create way more impact than you could ever imagine, right? Especially you want to build community around what you do, right? So the way I'm looking at it is that if it costs me 10 to 15 bucks per lead, if I can turn that lead into a lifelong relationship where we understand who they are, their whole family, we get to help them, we get to serve them. That's, to me, that's money well spent.
That's how you grow. I mean, plain and simple, you invest in that lead or that relationship up front, and then you nurture that relationship over time to maximize the value of that relationship for both of you. And, I don't want to sound like it's just a money grab, but at the end of the day, like, you're in business to make money, to create that lifestyle that you want, but you do that by serving your patients, by serving your community. And the only way you can have that opportunity is if you generate that lead on the front end.
Yeah, and it's all coming back to how much value you're giving, right? So if you're offering, let's say, a $75, visit, which we want people to come in and say, my God, I can't believe I just pay for that for $75. I would gladly pay like 4 times that much. Right. So I think that's where people are missing. And I see, clinic owners struggle with that because they had a hard time communicating that to their team that, hey, yes, this service might be a discount.
Yes.
That doesn't mean the experience get discounted. The experience needed to be 5x than regular experience. Right. So when someone's come in, it's the first time. And this is where, if you're a clinic owner, you don't communicate this with your team. They get, because sometimes, again, I don't blame this because I used to be an employee. Sometimes evals get put on the schedule or discovery visits get put on the schedule, and then that's just more work, right, for the PT. But the PT also needs to understand that you as a business owner try to create better life for everybody in the company, including your patient, and you're trying to have more impact, right? So if you have employee who just chasing financial gains and just self-serving, no matter what you do or you throw at them, it's going to be more work for them, right? So it's all start out with the right mindset with the right team, understanding what you're trying to do, right? And knowing that you can communicate that effectively to the team, like, hey, we're trying to create more impact, help more people, so we're running these ads. So when people are coming in, yes, you might be spending less time with them. Yes, they're paying less, but that doesn't mean it's dilute what we do. If anything, I expect you to step it up even more.
Again, your culture that you as a founder have set for your business, and helping your entire team understand that, yes, these leads, these people are coming in for this low cost offer, but you guys are expensive. I mean, relative to, physical therapy, but that's okay because you guys provide a result that is compensatory to that value, so to speak, that they're paying. And so your team needs to understand, yes, this is a low cost lead, but the potential of this relationship is massive. And so at every single step of the process, from that first phone call, that first, communication that you have, everybody on your team needs to convey that and needs to make sure that they're giving that experience that you would give, your professional athletes, so to speak. Like everybody needs to see that and feel that, because that's what's going to allow you to create that lifetime relationship and have that lifetime impact for that patient, for their family, for their friends, for their community. And in doing that, you're going to grow your reach and you're going to grow your brand because of the experience that someone, experiences, whether they come from a cheap Facebook lead or whether they come from a referral from a professional athlete.
Dude, let's take it a step lower, right? So if you were to teach someone how to create a nurturing sequence your way, right? If someone haven't run a Facebook ads, they want to, how will you walk you through the framework that you have in creating a really good
again,
nurturing
I always
sequence?
start with the end in mind. Like, what's the end objective? The end objective is a full blown, treatment plan of care for someone. So what ultimately are you trying to deliver for that patient, and then work backwards? What's a low cost entry point that you can create to start to get them to experience the results that they'll get if they give you an opportunity? And so, in this case, your shockwave therapy for back pain. It's an athlete, an active adult experiencing back pain. They want to eliminate it. They want to get better. And so again, what's that front end offer you can create? You guys have, what's the service that you guys give with the shockwave for back pain?
So we just go $75 for
what do they get as a result?
A shockwave.
What does that visit include? So when they pay that $75, they come in. What happens?
So they come in, they get examination, they get to talk to us, we get to do our assessment. Then we, rather than doing hands-on treatment, we say, hey, let's just go with shockwave and see how you feel. Then from there, once we get relief, we say, hey, based on that, you obviously respond really well to this. Here's the next step forward, right? Here's what the game plan is going to be if you were to
so we
be
pick that
committed
information,
to this.
And then from there, what we do is we we basically create a nurture sequence from that ad. So create the ad. Obviously, the ad copy reflects all of that. We talk a little bit about the benefits they're going to get. We include some testimonials to provide some social proof. There's an ad that either is a lead form opt-in, which, if you're familiar with it, it's just a little form that pops up on your Facebook or Instagram. You fill in your information, boom, lead gets submitted. Or you could direct them to an external website or a landing page, which you guys are doing in this case, that has a ton of great information about Shockwave, the benefits, who you guys are, who you've helped. You have some social proof there with all the logos of the teams that you guys have worked with. So it provides a ton of social proof to position you as the expert and the authority. They submit their information, boom, you guys have a lead. So the next step that ideally happens is you immediately or within 5 minutes are reaching out to that lead. Either someone on your team is picking up the phone and calling them, or what we've set up is basically we just send a text message. So that lead comes in, we're asking for their phone number. We're immediately sending them both an email and a text message confirmation just to let them know, hey, we've received your information. The text message says, hey, we've got your information. We've sent an email. We give them their email to make sure that it's the right email. And then we just ask, when's a good time to talk about taking the next steps? In a lot of cases, what we've seen is people will immediately reply to that and say, hey, call me tomorrow afternoon, or I'm free tomorrow at 2:00, whatever the case may be. They'll give you some information. So your team now knows, okay, I need to call Sally Smith tomorrow at 2:00 because that's what they said is going to work. If that doesn't happen, if they don't respond immediately, they're getting that email that has, hey, you just opted into our Facebook, offer for Shockwave therapy for $75. Here's what you're going to get. These are the benefits that you can experience. The next step in the process is just to hop on the phone to talk about you and your situation so we can figure out the best way to proceed. And then we just follow up, initially every day we're sending them we send them another text message. Hey, this is, Julie from MyoKinetics. You opted into our Facebook, offer for Shockwave therapy. When's a good time to talk? And that goes automatically. So Julie's not actually sending that. Our system is actually sending that for Julie. So hopefully all Julie is doing is either calling them at the time they tell us to, or she's talking to them when they actually call in. At the same time, another email goes out, and it just goes a little bit deeper into the benefits of Shockwave therapy and what it can do and how it can help them. Then we wait another day or another 2 days. We send them another text message. We send them another email that goes a little bit more in depth about what the process is or what they're going to experience. So, hey, when you come in, this is what's going to happen. You're going to do, an initial evaluation. We're going to go right into the Shockwave therapy. We're going to see how you feel. And then from there, we're going to have a conversation about, the benefits and how it can help and things like that. And so we just go through, and depending on what that offer is, it could be a 3 email follow-up sequence. It could be a 5. We could have done, as many as 10 email follow-up sequences. But over the next week to 10 days to 14 days, we're going to follow up with them consistently, providing information, providing value, reaching out to them, trying to get them to take that next step because they've expressed an interest. And so we want to do everything we can, again, understanding that they weren't necessarily looking for the solution, but we want to be proactive in reaching out to them, to nurture them, to give them opportunities to take that next step in the process, whatever that might be for your clinic. We want them to take that next step in the process so that you can take that lead and actually convert it into a patient.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's so simple, but that's the biggest thing, right? I think what I've seen sometimes is like people do a lot of work up front and they just need to do an extra 10% to make sure the following sequence is there. That will create so much of a huge difference, right? Like if you're going to do all that work up front already, just do an extra thing, go into an extra step, because people are never going to go say wow, you're doing too much for me.
Yeah.
Right. So I always say you want to go always above and beyond. Like if you think this is going to wow them, you got to do something else that honestly for me, that's just that's like resistance training, right? Like you want to add in that extra 5 pound, 2.5 pound that actually going to drive growth. Right. So if we look at in training, we look at RPE, right? How high the intensity going to be.
Yeah,
in follow-up, that's have to be the same thing. Can we create this follow-up?
Yeah.
Can we make this an RPE 10 in the follow-up rather than just an RPE 6?
slow down to speed up. Like, don't be so, like,
Mhm.
before you launch that campaign, make sure you know what's going to happen on the back end. Like, make sure you have that system, that process,
Yeah.
that content ready to go, so that when that lead comes in, you're not scrambling around trying to convert that lead, but you already have the system, the steps, the processes, the content in place, so that it can do it for you. Like, the whole goal here is to create efficiency and effectiveness.
Mhm.
And if we can slow down and make sure we've designed that campaign to the point to where we know when someone comes in, they're going to get 20 touch points over the next 2 weeks, like, the likelihood that that lead is going to convert goes way up. Whereas most businesses, what happens is they run leads, they get them in, and they see, they wake up in the morning, they see they got a lead overnight. Okay, I'll have to call them back this afternoon. Well, by that point, they've probably already forgot. So, if you have if you have a
Yeah.
system in place that does a lot of that heavy lifting for you, and you've pre-designed and pre-created that content to go out, like, you can rest assured and know that you're going to maximize the value of that lead because you have a system and a process in place that's doing the heavy lifting for you.
Mhm. And this go back to what we talked about with content creation in our past episode. And if you guys didn't listen to it, please go back and listen to that. This is the strategy of creating content. Can you create content that have high value, that you are okay, feeling great by
Yeah.
sending this to any new
Yeah.
leads that
I
coming
think
in
one
and
thing
they
you
would
guys
find
have, and we
valuable?
were talking about this before we went live, but you guys have done a great job of specific services that you provide, creating content around that for your audience, for your target patients. And so one of the things that you guys are doing is, when someone opts in for that, you already have shockwave content on your YouTube channel. So in those follow-up messages, you're just dropping links to those YouTube videos and say, hey, go check this out, to see how we do this, or to see the results of this patient. Whatever the case may be, like, you're dropping that content into those follow-up messages because, again, it's further educating, it's demonstrating the value you guys provide, it's providing that social proof, it's something that they can actually see, they can imagine themselves in that situation. And so it's that type of content that you want to create, that you want to share, that's going to help nurture and maximize the
Mhm.
value of those leads that are coming in.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think just going back, right? If you're going to invest money so that way you can get in front of people, you want to do your best so that that dollar
Yep.
give you the best return as much as possible, or give you the best, you know, type of patient that you want to work with, right? I think my goal and what we've been fortunate at is at Mile Connects, we absolutely love
Yep.
working with the patient that we have 100%. We talk about the caseloads that we have every single week, and every single one, and I can say this with full confidence now,
Yeah.
is our
But it's
ideal
taken a while.
population.
It's taken a while to get there, but you guys have really
Yeah.
zeroed in on that. And so that just
Mm-hmm.
makes any outreach that you do that much more effective because you know who you want walking through those doors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So some of the sequences that we're running as well is making sure that when people are coming in, we have to
Mm-hmm.
love on them as soon as possible. Just standing out from the marketplace, right? We
Yeah.
always talk about like the bar has been set so low that people just expect,
Yeah.
like shitty treatment. So we just go in, you follow up with them, you give them content, and most of the time, like, some of the staff might say like, I feel like I'm just
Yeah.
nagging them, but in a way you are, though, because if you're not that, it's like,
Yep.
it's from like a caring perspective, right? Like, you have kids, so you have to nag on your kids for them to
Yes.
do a certain thing that will be good for them. As
Yeah.
a healthcare provider, that's our job, right? Clearly, you want people to be, self-starter, but like, they can be self-starter once they
Yeah.
start getting some good momentum. And when the people are coming in, they're
Yeah.
desperate and
I
they have
think
lost
Yeah,
trust
I think a
in the
lot of
medical
people,
community.
they're looking for a guide. They're looking for someone that they can trust. It's to me there. I think there's a segment of the population that it's not that they're not self starters. They're just distrusting. Like, they just had bad
Mm-hmm.
experiences with other healthcare
Yeah.
providers or with other businesses, and so they're hesitant to really take action because they don't necessarily trust you yet. Like, they don't necessarily, they're afraid they're going to have a
Yeah.
negative experience like what they've had in the past. And so, like you say, like, as soon as you can,
Yeah.
just start to love on them. Just start to show them that you care. Start to show them that you can be that trusted guide that they're looking for. And that's going to increase the likelihood that you're going to have that opportunity. That increases the likelihood that they're going to start to take those steps that they need to, that they already probably know they need to. They're just looking for someone to tell them what the next best step is. And if you can start to demonstrate that value as quickly as possible, you're going to have that opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and this past weekend we had we had a meeting and we hired a coach from Story Brand, and the one takeaway for me was you are always the guide to your clients, your patient, your customer. Right? It's never about you. Like, it's always about what you can do for them,
absolutely.
So that way they reach their
goal.
Zig
Ziglar, phrase: if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. So you have to have almost that servant mentality when you go into this, and it's just business overall. I mean, not just running ads, but even more so, I think, running ads. Like, you have to demonstrate value up front as quickly as possible, and you have to show them that you're there to help them. You're there to help them improve their performance, to get out of pain, rehab an injury, whatever the case may be. And the sooner you can do that and show them that you can be that trusted guide that they're looking for, that they want, again, you're going to position yourself for massive success. You're going to have patients, you're going to have those brand champions that we want, ultimately, once those patients come through the door.
Yeah, dude. So I think next week I definitely want to go deep into what I've learned with the people at Story Brand, because I thought it was awesome when it comes to like getting to know your perfect patient like to the T, and be able to create like a really good message to communicate with them, because that's all it's coming down to, right? Because most agency would just run ads, but they don't really understand like your patient as well as you do. So for you not to craft the message or the nurturing sequence or creating the content that appropriate for your patient, because you know and care for them so much, and you're handling that off, it's kind of doing not just a disservice to them, but a disservice to you and your brand.
I think that's critical, especially in today's marketplace where there's so much distrust. There's so much uncertainty. I think being able to do that is absolutely critical.
Well, dude, I mean, listen, after watching last week's debate, how can you have any trust in anything?
Point well taken. I mean, look, trust. I mean, unfortunately, trust in not just the marketplace, but trust overall is down. Yeah, in general.
In general, dude, do you know that there's a research out that's saying that like people are more distrustful of their neighbor now?
I believe it.
Compared to what in the past.
We live in a society where, and I blame the media. I mean, I blame politicians and I blame media for fomenting this distrust, for fomenting this division among us.
Yeah.
And I think if people, not to get off topic too much, but I think if people just took the time. Yeah, I mean,
it's all related.
I think if people just took the time to understand their neighbor, so to speak, that they would see that they have more similar than they have more similarities than they do differences. And so, I think at the same time, I think we need more people that are willing to go out of their way to demonstrate kindness and to serve others and to show people that you're a good person. I think people are afraid to do that because of the backlash that they might get, a little cancel culture, so to speak. But I think there is definitely a place, and there will always be a place, for providing value, for serving others, for going out of your way to help other people. And I think we need that, not just in healthcare, especially in healthcare, but I think overall, just in society in general. I think we need more people that are willing to put themselves out there and serve others, because it's going to expand. It's going to grow. And we definitely need that in today's environment.
Yeah. So just to close, listen, treat your neighbor like how you would treat yourself, just like in the Bible. And then when you run ads, it's the exact same thing. Use the same concept, but then just go a little bit farther, right? With your neighbor, people used to bake apple pies, deliver them, all of that stuff.
Yes.
Same thing. That's nurturing sequence.
And the more you can do that, the more you can put yourself out there, the more opportunities you're going to have. Because again, people want that. People are looking for that. But because trust is so low, there's a huge opportunity for those that are willing to put themselves out there, to create content, to provide content, to provide information, provide services, provide value up front before they even ask for anything. And so, again, taking it back to the ads,
Yeah.
the more you can demonstrate value up front, the more you can proactively try to connect with these people, engage them, educate them, show that you are trusted, show that you can provide value, the more your clinic is going to grow.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, on that note, that's where we're gonna end. And again, stay tuned for next week. Be more heat, especially after what I learned with the story brand coach. And again, if you guys like what you have to hear from us, please share with your friend, subscribe to our channel, and then just book a call so at least we can get connected.
All right, man. Always good.
All right, Chestin. Thank you, brother.